All right, one thing I do every year at Yoga Christmas, which it's one of our traditions here, is that every year I ask someone to give a State of the Union address. This is half valedictorian, half year-end wrap-up. All right, are we? Come on, settle in. There's plenty of seats. There's a bar. All right. Is everyone? I'm going to give everyone 2 seconds to chill out while I explain the State of the Union address. State of the Union address is a special thing that I like to do. Half valedictorian address, half year-end wrap-up, and half gravitas of the presenter.
That's 3 halves.
I know, that's why it's funny. That's the joke. Someone got it. All right. Is everyone having a good Yoga Christmas so far?
Yes!
So please, give it up with this year's State of the Union address, Gregory Levine.
There is a night about to summer when tomorrow comes. Joining on the stage, we will be strong and stand with me. Beyond the barricades, there are worlds you come to see. Then join in the fight that will give you the right to be free.
Welcome to a very Yoga Christmas. I've been entrusted with the supreme honor of delivering the State of the Union address for 2013. Some of you might ask why, for such a very American holiday as Yoga Christmas, would I choose a fictional French revolutionary anthem? Valid question. This has been a very revolutionary year, with all that word implies. There have been vast changes, terrible, wonderful, and a mixture of both. It has been a year of anniversaries. This month, for instance, is the 2-month anniversary of my having seen the Les Miserables movie on basic cable. Honestly, it had a big impact on me. I think the critics were unjustly harsh on it. Russell Crowe is not a good singer, but didn't that give it a kind of photoreality? He's not supposed to... Javert is not a demon, he's a man. Yes. Year of anniversaries, changes. 220 years ago this year, the French Revolution was set in stone. It was a new state. That very same year, the true nature of the new revolution unfortunately was made known when all of the ideals were swept aside and the Great Terror began. Yet out of the bloodshed of the Great Terror came something new. A heroic figure, a father to the people, a liberator, a stabilizer, Napoleon. I got to play on basic cable this year. Napoleon gave rights to women, gave rights to Jews, established a meritocracy, which meant you actually could rise by your own intelligence, your own strength, not just a last name, an aristocratic family. So great did his changes become that he got a glimpse of his own power and decided that he was the conqueror of the world. And so 200 years ago, people all across Northern Europe decided the man they greeted as a liberator was actually a tyrant. They all rose in arms for the first time. People who had never seen each other as having any connection, strangers, decided they were in fact brothers and sisters and rose with one voice to throw out the tyrant. This gave rise to ideas of liberalism in Europe, and unfortunately also German nationalism, which amateur historians will remember came back to bite us in the ass. But as a side note, because even terrible things sometimes have a kernel of something good, German nationalism also gave me a very strange esoteric set of interests that would lead me to this very room. I'm not saying that balances out, but... 50 years ago, JFK was assassinated. 20 years ago, a movie about the JFK assassination came out. Again, good movie, maybe not great history. But then we go back to 50 years ago, and what happened the day after JFK was assassinated? The very first Doctor Who ad. I'm sure many of you in this very room were part of the global festival Love-In, the episode that happened. Please don't give me any spoilers. I've never actually seen Doctor Who. 40 years ago, the oil crisis, as we called it, started, which rerouted power in the Middle East, which did not always lead to very good things. But that same year, Roe v. Wade was passed. Conception of women as like a sort of human being. It's just this way that things, there's good and there's bad and there's balancing outs. And a lot of this came to mind summing up the year. This has been a year of a lot. So I'm going to get the bad stuff out of the way. My grandmother died. She would have blown all of your minds. And you would have loved her and or hated her, depending on what day and what mood she was in. She was a fantastic person. And she was not just a communist, but a Stalinist. And those of you unacquainted with the fine points of this term would mean if you were a communist who thought Stalin was a bad guy, you were stupid and ill-informed, and there was no discussion to be had. On the other hand, she was the best cook you ever met in your life, and if you had tasted her food, you would have disowned your mom immediately for lying about what food is supposed to taste like. She had instilled in us the idea that you're supposed to just work for its own sake, that work is noble. That didn't really take with me. After she broke her hip and realized she wasn't going to ever be going to Europe in her life, she then came around and thought maybe doing stuff that makes you happy and try and do that for a living, because she still thought you shouldn't starve, which is a good thing too. She remembered, her mind went back to the days when she was a commie in the 30s, and they would go to the Lower East Side and watch plays and shows in tenements in the hallways, and then they'd walk down the street eating a piece of pizza. And lo and behold, in the 21st century, still one of the best things to be done, and she told me she loved all my stories about all the interesting things in the village that I do, and that I should be doing that. Final postscript. This morning when I should have been sleeping for this show, My sleep was cut off at 3 hours by a process server who gave us papers that I have to look at because the house that's been dormant since she died in February is finally being repossessed. But the joke's on them. It's been so poorly kept up. Moving on to other people. Exactly. Moving on to other people. Our dear friend Debbie Bell lost her mom. Our dear, brilliant, beautiful friend Leona lost her friend Igor. The rest of you can explain to each other who don't know what that means. There have been cultural losses. We lost the Red Room. BTK band ended. Alter Ego ended. Kill the band ended. And the thing that brought many of us together, in fact, I would only know Tina London, Bill Chambers, if not for Penny's open mic. Penny, of course, she ended the mic because it was time for her to follow her artistic destiny west, a richly deserved, brilliant destiny. But let's, while we're bemoaning the loss of her presence, let's remember that we're the ones who are left behind. Penny, Lee, Boffin, Gunn, and Fontaine, Natalie, Agrippa, Brooke. Yes. All of them have betrayed us, haven't they? Finally, to be said, can't it? Yes. And why? Because they think they're better than us. Especially Brooke. This is not my opinion. This is not based on emotion. My heart is made of stone on this neck. All right. Let's be honest. Brooke is better than us. Anyone who disagrees, look around. Look around at everyone else. Come back, Brooke! Brooke, Penny, all of you, come back. Ah, fine. Fine. We move on. We move on. Because out of the ashes of this stuff, other things happen. Out of the ashes is probably not a great word. Out of the celebrated greatness of Penny's open mic came the open mic downstairs, which anyone who was here this past Tuesday knows.
Yeah!
It's got legs, as we say in showbiz. Yes, many, many things. Coach dropped a CD. Kill the Band dropped Happy Endings. Night Thrower's Assistance.
Yeah!
Yes. Mikey Harris, Deb. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Mike Malazzo dropped his CD. Life is a cage, love is a cage, whatever it's called. It's brilliant. Wonderful stuff. Rodney and Brooks McKenzie started the Super Sunday Showcase. Rob Dub and myself, Rob Dub and me, that's better grammar. Rob Dub and me started. Rob Dub and I started the 10-foot cabaret. See, my mind is still on France, so it's storing my problems. How many other amazing things. Emily Wolf started drinking smoothies. Chili's Motley Crew opened for Gilbert Gottfried. Yes, there were many, many couplings, and not just in the dirty way. Bill and Amber, Marbar and Debbie Bell, Rob and Jillian got married. Thomas and Simona, Eden, Brower, and John. And if I'm forgetting anything, it's because there were so many other amazing things. This marks a special anniversary for me too. It's the third Yoga Christmas that I've been part of. It's an anniversary on a couple of levels. The first Yoga Christmas is the first time I found I could do more than one set on more than one subject without my empty melon rind of a brain just imploding. It worked really well. It also started another tradition. the Yoga Christmas sketch with Bill Chambers.
Yeah.
I'm ending on a note of whoring, which you'll understand in a minute is a mechanism for a very awkward segue. Whores serve their purpose in society. They're honest about it. And really every civilization in history has been built on the backs of whores, soldiers, and slaves. It is good for us to remember that. They form the bedrock, and on that foundation of soldiers, whores, and slaves rises up a civilization. And for my money, the fruit of civilization doesn't get any sweeter than a little hole in the ground in the East Village district of the greatest metropolitan area ever seen in history. And my favorite holiday of the past 3,000 years, Yoga Christmas.